Hi, I want to talk about nonprofits that are really messed up. I just have two examples for today. I used to work as an activity leader in different after schools, and I changed after schools often. Um, yes, I am Asian American, and I look different, and I'm very hardworking, and I'm educated. So, the first place that has been abusive and exploitative is Green Apple Kids, led by Beatrice Tinio. This is around 2012. I looked online; they don't exist anymore. But if Beatrice Tinio has started another organization, or is the supervisor or head of a kids program, please comment. Maybe she has changed, she has reformed. It's been almost 10 years, but she she would make me do work that's other people's work. Um, she put me in a class with 28 kids and took away the assistants that were young people, because the assistants would talk louder than me, talk louder than the kids. Basically, um, they would use their job time to socialize. And I was complained about when I asked them to help the children or be quiet when I'm teaching. And then my colleague had 5 people in the class with one assistant. So the assistant wasn't socializing. They have laws about the ratio between student and teacher. She'd ask me to bring art supplies from home. Mind you, I was getting $35 an hour when I was used to getting $50 an hour per contact hour, not including preparation. So she wanted me to go shopping and and pay for the supplies. She said she's not going to reimburse. Um, and she would also reject every single lesson plan I made, and not tell me what's wrong with them. But I had to sign away these lesson plans because I was the first. Um, the first, I was me and the colleague I had. We were the first teachers, so they were building a curriculum to have for subsequent years. So I was creating a program and working, and a lot more work I than my colleague who's getting paid the same, who had no experience. She told me that she got that job through a friend. And when I brought these things up, she would just like stare at me and give me a stink eye. Um, and sometimes when she asked me to do something, I would say like, "Hey, look what I'm doing," and she would just ignore me. She just a lot of times I'd say something, and she'd ignore me. And she would also stick her head into the classroom, and if a child that she doesn't like was talking, she'd tell them to behave. Um, I don't pick favorites because I just think that's not appropriate. And even if a kid is acting out in class, there must be a reason for it. But she'd tell me that I'm not controlling the kids, while most of the time, the kid that she doesn't like would be asking an honest question. I set early in when I meet a class, not to ask questions that aren't relevant, um, and to raise your hand when you speak, stuff like that. And yeah, so I'm strict in the beginning, and then I loosen up to create a culture in the class. I mean, I say that I do that, but I have worked with children for it's about 8 years, and I don't want to again. Um, so, and at the end, I was like, go. Well, I told him I wanted to leave, but then I was like, go, saying that I wasn't controlling the kids enough. And I think the kids were well behaved for an after school center. And this was a charter school in the South Bronx. And I saw, about the issues with the charter schools, especially in the, in neighborhoods that were lower income, and so yes, I did mention that controlling children isn't education, but anyways, I hope if Beatrice Tinio is still heading children's programs, she has changed. And the other place is Good Shepherd Services. They are a big organization. And my site supervisor was Karina Morales. And this was in North Bronx, near Lehman College, near the Bronx Museum. And she had a staff. And her staff wouldn't let me sign in and sign out of work because they were like stealing hours from me. And this is like petty half an hour, 15-minute differences. But at 30, again, these people gave me 30 an hour. But uh, uh, in 2013 and 14, 750 would be, I can buy myself lunch. $15 is like half of my electric bill, not my gas bill. So that, and I think my phone was $60 a month at that time. So yes, if I had my hours like taken away, 15 minutes 4 times a month, that was my phone bill. And this is like every day. So they basically stole like $15, 15 minutes in the beginning and 15 minutes later. They would take those hours away from me every day, 5 days a week, and make me clean up the facilities. Even if it wasn't my job, there were people to do it. Keep me behind again about like, classroom management, and also like write me emails 1 hour before going in. Can you do this? Can you change the lesson plan to this? And I'd say, I can't. I already did it. And again, I'm only getting paid while I'm there, only contact hours. So, and they wanted me to establish a yoga program where they are. They didn't have mats. They got these puzzle mats, but enough for maybe 12 students to make a circle, not 30. And so I asked them to take, a square piece each and sit on them. And she said, no, they have to be put together and they circle up. And I said, okay, let's do that. And like they couldn't circle up they couldn't even fit on them if they were in a line and touching each other. And somehow I was to blame, saying, well, we don't have enough money to buy mats for each student. So we're going to work it out and you couldn't do it. So I did chair yoga. I mixed drawing projects with yoga because they wanted me to teach 2 hours to it was a place that was K-6. So most yoga classes are between an hour and an hour and a half for adults. And when I tried to say that, she didn't want me to do any drawing projects. And when I described to Karina Morales, have you ever taken a yoga class? And she would say something like, well, yeah, I do vinyasa, so it's different. And I say, have you ever taken a 2-hour class? And she's like, no. And then I just described to her the children's attention spans. And also they had a whole day of school. And they had just had, well, snack wasn't heavy. But she'd just like look at me and not answer. Again, like this nasty stare and not being able to hold a conversation or communicate. So I did chair yoga. We tried yoga on the floor in a mock place, but it only happened once because the custodian who had promised to mop the place before the kids came for yoga, he only did it once. He didn't want to do it again. We tried it outdoors in the yard, and then she said we did it once, and she said she doesn't like it because there are there are adults who are hanging out on that block. So an education specialist and a consultant with Good Shepherd Services saw the situation while giving us a training. She wasn't like supervising or assessing us, but she noticed something, and and I don't know how it went down. I think Karina Morales is lying to me, but I was told by Karina Morales that they can get mats. They were able to get funding for mats, and I sent her an Amazon item for what's appropriate for kids, and she didn't. She said it's too expensive. So she got the cheapest one. I even gave her a link to, at that time Jade Yoga was giving mats away to programs, and this was an inner city school, and supposedly Good Shepherd Services didn't have a budget for mats. Now that I think about it, they had a budget. Karina Morales told me. No, she didn't tell me anything. She just looked at me. And then I sent her a link. And then I asked her the next day at work, did you see that Jade Yoga gives out free mats? And she just looked at me and she won't answer. So now I'm guessing Good Shepherd Services has the budget to buy yoga mats. And so, yeah, 3 weeks after she ordered the mats, the same education specialist was like, why are they doing chair yoga? We got you mats? And I said, no. Karina told me that they're taking a while. The shipment, there's something wrong with the shipment. The education specialist walked out of the room and then came back and said, you should get mats soon. And they came 2 days later. So this happened all the time. And then, yeah, with the mats too. I had to have the kids take off their shoes outside of the classroom because there wasn't enough room. And she complained about that, and I said, well, where are you going to put the shoes? And she asked if the kids can do yoga with their shoes on, and I said, what's the point of the mats if we're doing just standing poses? And all this just went on and on and on, and there was a trip, so out of school time, OTC, out of school time, for holidays, like Christmas holidays and Easter holidays, there's these organizations, their after school program turns into day-long half-day programs for kids whose parents work. And a child grabbed me and yanked my arm, and I was injured. And the next day, I called in sick, and she said I have to work. And I said I was injured on the job. I have to get it checked out. And she said, no, somebody called in sick. You have to come in. because there's a quota of people that have to work with us. Now that I think about it, Good Shepherd Services is a large place. They could have sent somebody um, from the big office. They have programs all over New York City. But I think she didn't want to get caught with the stupid shit that she does. So when the education specialist heard about it, she said, "Get workers' comp off of them. You got injured on the job." I think she saw that I was being mistreated, and because also her staff, her assistants and CITs, counselors and trainings, so they were like high school students and college students. They they were brutally making fun of the small Asian person who is leading these classes, and the kids like and being very rude and inappropriate when I was teaching, and she would defend them. She would defend these kids, these high school students and college students. So her assistant too. So I wanted to. So again, I should have called the main office even with this call, but I got a call from her assistant saying this is the accident report I have to take down and I'm going to submit it. And I told him exactly what happened and the prognosis. I have a feeling it was a fake, like it threw out. So I I didn't get workers' comp. I was already on disability. I was doing my trial work period. I was trying to get up a disability so I can be independent, but it didn't work out. I couldn't get more hours. I worked like at Good Shepherd Services near Kingsbridge Road, um, 3 times a week, and I wanted to get more hours a week, Tuesday, Thursdays, but it didn't happen for me. It seems like the people who are a little bit less, people who stand out a little less. For instance, I was I had a professional dance career already, and the other people like the theater specialists and the dance specialists were just like their theater and dance practice was teaching at Good Shepherd Services, and I didn't have a life like that. So when those people, these teaching artists, went out for drinks after work, I had to rush to rehearsal most of the time. So it's that kind of culture. So they were rewarded, and I was punished for being accomplished in my specialty. And now I remember, she also, Karina Morales, when I applied and had an interview. I had an interview, and then I had to put in an application after she accepted me. She told me she gave me the wrong application, and then she emailed it to me, and can you send it, can I fax it in? So I did. I printed it out in the library, and I paid like $8 to send it in by fax at a Staples, and then she said she never got it. And like, she called me when I was going to a theater, and she's like, "Can you do it tonight?" And I was like, "No, I'm on my way to my call time, and after dress rehearsal, I have to go in for makeup and then perform and then get out of the venue at midnight, and I'm not going to do that." And then she would say, "Well, you have to have an application." I was like, "You gave me the wrong application, and I already paid. I already paid like $10 to put it in." And so I had to go into the office and write the correct application. But like, yeah, like, "Can you do it now?" And it's like, "I can't. I'm going to the theater. I'm performing." That kind of stuff. Now that I remember, that kind of thing happened. So she was favoring people, I guess, who are more like her. So I looked up Karina Morales and Good Shepherd Services. She's not there anymore. If she's still leading children's programs, I hope she's changed, or I hope she doesn't get to work with kids. Um, Please comment below if you've worked with Beatrice Tinio or with Green Apple Kids, and if Green Apple Kids still exists, and if so, if it's under the leadership of Beatrice Tinio. And please comment below if you've worked for Karina Morales, and if you worked for her under uh, Good Shepherd Services, or if she's somewhere else, and your experiences. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.